Good evening and welcome. I'm Jessica Oates. I am the clinical educator and lecturer for the School of Nursing here. We want to thank you all for coming tonight to support and encourage our student nurses as they are welcomed into our great profession of compassionate and competent nurses. This ceremony does hold significance not only for the College of Nursing and Health Sciences School of Nursing, but for nursing in general. This is the very first white coat ceremony for the School of Nursing that the nursing students that you're supporting tonight will be participating in. The white coat ceremony is the first introduction to the Gold Foundation's community of caring. This iconic ritual, which began at Columbia University in 1993, provides an important emphasis on compassion, collaborative, and scientifically excellent care. I would like to thank the Gold Foundation for their support and assistance in creating this wonderful ceremony for your loved one. Please join me in welcoming our honored guest tonight, our university president, Dr. Neil Weaver, and his wife, Christy Weaver. Dr. Suzanne Smith, our provost and BPAA. Dr. Sandra Daniel, the dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. Dr. Teresa Teasley, the Associate Dean for the School of Nursing. Dr. Paula Bryant, the Associate Dean for the School of Nursing, Graduate Program, Teresa Teasley Undergraduate Program. And of course, our keynote speaker for this evening, Dr. Bonnie Simmons. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, if you would please rise for the procession of the class of 2020. Dr. Neil Weaver. Dr. Neil Weaver, sorry.
Good evening, and welcome to Georgia Southwestern. On behalf of the faculty, the staff, and the students, I'd like to welcome you to the campus and to this ceremony. We, in higher education, we do lots of ceremonies. We're pretty good at it. We have them for all kinds of occasions. But it's not unlike the rest of our lives. We have ceremonies, we have wedding ceremonies, we have christening ceremonies, we have all kinds of ceremonies in our lives because there are certain moments and certain times in our lives when it's important for us to stop and recognize where we are, what we are, and what we're about to do. And for these students, they are about to start their professional life, to embark on a career that it has great meaning. And so this ceremony is not just a white coat and the middle of a semester. It really is meaningful. And I hope that you think about what it means to put the coat on and to declare that I'm going to be a nurse, and I'm going to make this my career. I'm going to make this my calling in life. We congratulate you on getting to this point, but we also look forward to what lies ahead and to the commitment that you are making to the profession, to the patients, and to the people and the communities that you will serve throughout your career. I want to thank the faculty for making this ceremony meaningful and for putting their effort and energy into taking this moment in time to recognize your accomplishments and to really challenge you to think about what lies ahead. I want to thank all the family members for joining us today to help us mark this time in the students' lives. All of us at GSW are proud of this program. We're proud of the alumni that have come out of the School of Nursing. We believe this is the finest School of Nursing in the entire state and one of the finest in the country. And so as graduates, soon-to-be graduates of GSW, we want you to be confident that the experience that you're getting, the training that you're getting, the education that you are receiving will make you among the very, very best. And so we congratulate you. We hope you wear these coats with great pride and always are proud of your institution and of your responsibilities in our community. So congratulations. Thank you for letting me be a part of this ceremony, and we hope you all have a great time on our campus today.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Daniel, and as Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, I want to welcome each of you, our nursing students, many family members, and we are so delighted that we have such great attendance, and the GSW community who are here this evening. You make this a very special occasion, and we welcome you. As has been mentioned earlier, this is an inaugural event. We like to celebrate first, and indeed this event will be a part of our archives that we will look back in a few years and know that it was this event that led to a time-honored tradition that we hope to carry forward from after this evening. White coat ceremonies have been a ritual for medical students. They were probably the first who had their white coats, and indeed, they now encompass several healthcare professions, and nursing is now among them. In the past, nursing students, usually after the first year or during the first year, would they would be capped. And I believe Dr. Simmons is going to tell you more, so I will not steal her thunder here. But that was a symbol that, and a time-honored tradition that most programs do not have in today's society. Later, as we graduated, nurses wore white uniforms, and I can recall two events in my own nursing education, the capping ceremony and the pinning ceremony, in which I wore my first whites. And it was a very special occasion. And I really, even though it's in the distant past, the white coat has now replaced that symbol. Also mentioned earlier is that this ceremony is designed to recognize an important milestone of our nursing students. Now you're thinking, okay, they're junior students. They are in their second semester of our nursing program. But this is a true milestone for us. They have worked hard, and they have reached this stage, and it is now time for them to don their white coat. And more importantly, I believe, is that this is an establishment of that nursing students' commitment to delivering high-quality care with compassion and with scientific evidence as he or she delivers the care. We are members of the largest healthcare professions, and so we touch the lives of millions each day. And as we touch those lives, our patients are placing their trust in our hands, and we have obligations and expectation of society to adhere to a code of ethics and to professional standards of practice. And I believe that this has, although it's begun in their first semester, from here forward, that is truly an expectation. But this evening, it is truly my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Bonnie Simmons, who recently retired as professor of nursing from Georgia Southwestern. She taught with us for 25 years. And as a friend and highly respected colleague, she has certainly touched numerous lives, whether it was delivering direct care to her patients or whether it was in the classroom and teaching the art and science of nursing. She has certainly done much, and I think that she is certainly the right speaker at the right time for this occasion. She received a diploma in nursing from Piedmont Hospital School of Nursing and began her nursing career, I hope you'll forgive me for giving the year, in 1972. Over the next 46 years, she continued her education. She graduated summa cum laude from our own Georgia Southwestern with her bachelor degree in nursing. She completed her graduate degree from Valdosta State University and her PhD from Georgia State University. She has certainly made lifelong education and commitment as an example of how our expectations of learning are always there. As a professional nurse, she practiced in a small rural community hospital, school health, public health, and in these areas prior to joining our faculty with a wealth of experience. While at GSW, she served as our graduate chair of the School of Nursing. Additionally, she had been an active member of numerous professional organizations, including serving as president of the Georgia Perinatal Association. Dr. Simmons, we are honored to have you serve as our keynote speaker this evening. Please join me in welcoming her as she makes her way to the podium.
I am honored to be a part of the first white coat ceremony for the School of Nursing at Georgia Southwestern State University. And I thank Jessica for asking me. I think that they think because I'm old and I was here a long time, I know a lot, or that I love speaking, which hearing myself speak doesn't really do a whole lot for me, but I do have a few words of wisdom that I would like to share with the students tonight. And already I can tell that many of us went to the same source to find out what is this all about, because I'm going to use some of the same words. But this ceremony does represent an important milestone in your education. And for medical professionals, the white lab coat represents a commitment to scientific rigor and compassionate care while identifying the wearer as a member of a community of professionals. It's a badge of honor, showing the result of many hard hours of work and dedication. And I'm sure you all can sit over there and say you've done a lot of hard work to get where you are tonight. But I couldn't help but reflect, as Sandra kind of alluded to, as I was preparing for this evening and thinking about this ceremony back in 1971, when I did participate in something very similar to this, and I received a cap. Well, I thought about bringing that cap tonight, but let me tell you, back in the day, those caps, you had to starch them, and then you threw them on the refrigerator, and it stuck there for a long time until it was stiff, and then you had to fold it. Well, mine was kind of worn, and it's kind of yellowed over all the time, but it's in the top of my closet, and I still have it, and I still treasure it. And this is a different ceremony, but yet that significance of it means exactly the same thing. I remember how proud my mother was that I had that cap, and she just wanted me to wear it. And when I went to work in that small rural hospital, it kept getting in the way. I thought, it's in the way, I can't wear it. But when she happened to visit the hospital and have it on, she always gave me a hard time. Where's your cap? Where's your cap? Where's your cap? The other thing that I really had such a hard time was, and it was my first supervisor who insisted our shoes had to be white. Well, I worked really hard. I mean, back then, nurses did a lot of things. I have scrubbed baseboards. I have done a lot in the role of a nurse, not just take care of patients, but it was the hardest thing for me to keep my shoes white, and she was always on my case about, get your shoes white, get your shoes white. So white is an important thing here, and this coat is an important thing for you. But that's just one of the many, many changes that I've seen over the years since I've been in nursing for 46 years, and one of those being the replacement of the coat for the cap in this particular ceremony. Another thing that really has changed is the image of nursing. I can remember that my mother told me when I became a nurse, she said, you are everything I ever wanted to be, because she wanted to be a nurse so bad. But back in her day, which she was born in 21, so let's just say in the 40s or whatever, nurses weren't well thought of, and people that went into nursing were not that well thought of. So her father didn't want her to go, and she didn't go. But that image has changed. In the past, becoming a nurse was thought of as a step down from being a doctor, but the tides have turned. One of the most important roles in the medical field now, nursing is now considered to be the backbone of the healthcare industry. And for the first time, becoming a nurse in the United States is a profession to be really thought well of. And I'm sure that already, as you tell people that you're a nursing student, they think, gosh, that's great that you're going to do that and go into that profession. And I don't know if you know this or not, but for the 17 years in a row, Gallup polls have rated nursing as the most trusted profession in the United States as to honesty and ethical standards. And that's something that we can be very, very proud of, that our patients trust us. So keep that in mind as you move along in this profession. One of the other things that's really changed is nursing salaries, and what a welcome change that is. I actually looked up, and I had to look it up because I had no idea, but when you retire, you get this big printout from Social Security, what you made over all these years. So I went back and looked. For my very first full year as working as a registered nurse in 1973, I made $7,717, and I earned every penny of that because I worked very, very hard. And I was a young newlywed, and I was happy, and I was taking care of people, and it was great. I mean, I wasn't worried about the salary. I should have been worried about it back then. But at the time, I was just so proud to be a nurse and to be able to work and do that. So now, the average salary of nurses in the U.S. is $63,000 a year. Some of your specialty nurses, such as nurse anesthetists and nurse practitioners, can make as much as $140,000 a year. Now, parents, I'm not saying that when they graduate, they're going to start out at $63,000 a year. Remember, I said there's an average there. It depends on where you live. It depends on what kind of job you have and all those kind of things. But it is a decent salary, and it's one that we can be proud of. And it's certainly much better than what I started out. And thank God I was making a little bit more than that when I retired. But there has been a really big shift in the economy, and nursing is being respected and honored and actually given what they deserve to have. Another thing that's really important right now, and this, parents, you can be very grateful for, there is an abundance of jobs to go around for nursing. It's one of the most lucrative positions to take straight out of college, and the benefit of becoming a nurse in the United States right now is that there are so many positions that need to be filled. And the thing that makes it so nice is it's different kinds of positions. You can choose all sorts of areas to work, such as hospitals, nursing homes, schools, psychiatric and rehabilitation centers, public health, and so much, much more. I mean, I know I've worked numerous positions over the years, 46 years. I loved them all. I left because I thought, well, I've done this a while, I want to do something else. But it really is so rewarding, and you will get to make that choice, I hope. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to get exactly what you want and the exact shift or any of that, but you will be able to make some choices, I'm sure. And people will be recruiting for you and looking for you to hire you as a nurse, because it is a real shortage right now. Mercer, our human resource consulting company, recently reported that over the next 7 years, the U.S. will need to see an influx of more than 2 million nurses, due mostly to that aging population, one of which I am, and other things. And some of those other things are not only an increase in patients or including retiring baby boomers, but we got a real problem with obesity in this country and a real rise in a lot of chronic conditions. So nurses are needed. So that is a good thing, that those jobs are there. And it's one of the professions that when you graduate from here, you'll find a job. It's out there. But with all that being said, and all that sounds very, very positive, nursing is not an easy job. It really does require long hours and hard labor and mentally and emotionally draining patient interactions that make it a difficult career, even for people that are very, very caring. But you gotta look on the positive side of that. Every day you're saving lives. You're comforting the sick and you're comforting the dying. And you're caring for our young, our old. And if we're lucky, maybe you'll be caring for one of your nursing instructors, because we would love for that to happen. I remember when I was in nursing school, I had worked in a nursing instructors to pick up on the fact that I had a little bit more experience than most of my classmates. So one day, they always made me do everything first. I thought, why do I always have to do everything first? I don't care whatever kind of skill it is. But they were assigning patients, and the nurse that had actually run the hospital, and they'd named the School of Nursing after, I had a hip replacement. And for once in my life, I thought, please don't choose me. Please don't choose me to take care of her, because that's going to be really hard to take care of a nurse that was actually over all of nursing. Well, she chose me. And I took care of her, and I did all right. But here's the positive side of that. When I graduated, I won an award that had her name on it, Geneva Guerin Nursing Award, for overall best nursing student. So I guess all that worked out fine and in my favor. But at that particular time, I thought, please don't choose me for that particular thing. But it did happen. One of the things, too, is that you have to have some inner motivation that will help you to move forward with your nursing. And I know all of you have it because you're here tonight, but those are kind of some of the things that you have to think about and work toward as you move toward this nursing career. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of tips here to help you build your confidence as a student, but I hope you'll take them into your work too, because it's really, really important that you do these things. Number one, be organized. Now, I know a lot of this is going to sound like, how many times have I heard this from my instructors? I know I need to do those things. I particularly am a big note taker. It's worked for me all throughout my education. I make lists and I make sure and I prioritize. You have to do that because I know how busy you are. So please make it a habit of being organized and keeping your notes and your things together where you can go back to them. Remember your motivation. There's going to be moments when your hard work and dedication will either go unnoticed or it doesn't turn out quite like you had planned, such as when you don't do so well on some of those tests. And it is hard when you get discouraged at times. But just remember, you have that inner will that you can work on to make that better the next time. Try to look at the positives in that part of that day, whatever it is that carries you through, so that those things will work out. You'll do better next time, I'm sure. Stay positive. I actually had, and it's very important that you too have some sort of inspirational saying that you lean on and you repeat, and it's in front of you, and whether you put it on your notebook or on your laptop screen or wherever. Mine happened to be a biblical verse, and it was Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me. Now, yours doesn't have to be a Bible verse. There's a lot of inspirational quotes out there, but I encourage you to find one that speaks to you and that you can look at it anytime you need to. And believe you me, I repeated that one many times at my desk when I was dealing with students and dealing with other things in the school. But it just meant a lot to me, and it helped me through many, many times. Communication skills, improve those. Make those the best you can be. And it'll make a difference in your life in school and in your professional life. I'll have to admit, even in the master's program, sometimes I grade papers and I think, where did these students go to school? That's slang. They need to learn to talk professionally. And nursing does have its own language, but you need to practice that. And you need to put a lot of emphasis on that because it's very, very important. Try to remember to always listen, and I know you were told that in Fundamentals 101. Listen carefully what people are saying, speak clearly as you can, and be aware of those nonverbal cues because people do pick up on those, and it's really, really important. Important also for communication is don't be afraid to ask questions, whether it be to your instructor at work or anywhere. And I'm sure most of my colleagues would not believe this, but I really was shy when I was in school. I'm not shy now, and I don't mind asking questions or giving my opinion, which I do frequently. But I encourage you to be bold, ask questions, get involved, be the one that raises your hand and say, let me try. Can I do it first? Because somebody has to be first. And don't let that same person do it first every time. Raise your hand and ask, can I do it? You have got to be a constant learner. It's just one way to make nursing a whole lot better is to constantly read, keep up with what's going on, learn new things. The truth is that this is a field where changes are the norm. Everything changes. Every day it's different, and it's hard to be prepared all the time. And I know I learned very quickly that I could not know the answer to everything a student asked me, but I knew where to go look it up. And I would often have to say, I don't really know the answer right now, but I'll get back with you. I'll go look it up. So read, look, get into the material, and make sure that you're keeping up with what's going on. Collaborate. That has been a buzzword for the last few years. Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. Work with your peers. Work with, when you're out in the working world, your colleagues are so important to you. They're your biggest supporter. They should be. Your peers should be your biggest supporter. Make study teams, do things together, and work with each other because you really can help each other, and be willing to accept that support from other people too, because it will be a big benefit to you. And last, embrace compassion. Compassion to me is one of the greatest ways to better your professional life. It's very, very important. Dealing with patients means dealing with persons in very, very vulnerable spots. It is some of the worst times of their life, and it's a sensitive time, and you have to have a compassion for people to be able to deal with that. So make sure you work on that and that you have that compassion. It'll make life a whole lot easier if it's just something that's within you. This University and School of Nursing is committed to meet the needs and expectations of the ever-changing healthcare environment. Our nursing program has evolved to meet those needs, all the while remaining committed to graduating nurses who are caring and compassionate, as well as prepared and qualified for the roles in which you will practice. In closing, if I were the great and wonderful wizard of nursing, which I am not, I would grant to you the 3 requests that the Wizard of Oz granted to the straw man, the tin man, and the timid lion. For the straw man, he wanted a brain, and I would grant you a brain full of the knowledge of nursing if I could. The tin man wanted a heart, So I would grant you a heart full of passion for nursing and compassion for all mankind. The lion wanted courage, and I would grant you confidence to face the future be the best nurse that you can be. All three of these wanted these things very badly, so they went to the wizard to get help. At first, the wizard seemed bothered, and he called himself the great and powerful Oz, and he sent them away. But he sent them later to bring back the witch's broom, if you remember this story. And when they returned with the broom, they were surprised with their own success. They discovered that the wizard was just a regular man and wasn't really a wizard after all, just as I am not the wizard of nursing. But what they did discover was that they already had a brain, they already had a heart, and they already had courage, just as you already have all of these traits, because you're sitting here tonight, and this is why, because you have those things. Then the wizard gave each of them something to show that they were smart, loving, and brave. Tonight in this ceremony, you're receiving a white coat that symbolizes that you are smart and that you are loving and that you are brave to have reached this point in your career. But don't forget that Dorothy also discovered that she had within herself the power to get herself back to Kansas with Toto. You also have that power within you to complete this educational journey and get that degree. What I only have the power to do really here is to wish you continued success, and I want to be the first to welcome you into the profession and to congratulate you on receiving your white coat. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Rhonda Slocum, and I'd like to ask the faculty to go ahead and take their positions for the ceremony. And I have one quick announcement about the order of our ceremony. Due to some shipping issues, the pins will not be received tonight, but the rest of the ceremony will go on as planned. Okay, ready? Okay. Grace Atherton. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, will the class of 2020 please rise and come forward? Grace Atherton. Rebecca Barber. Mona Berryhill. Megan Bivens. Tamesia Blue. Kara Brinson. Gloria Brown. Carissa Campbell. Tristan Campbell. Christina Catchings. Noah Clayton, Noah Clayton. Haley Collins. Maggie Crew. Meredith Elliott. Alexandria Evans. Morgan Fowler. Katie Fox. Brett Futch. Dashiana Green. Annalie Griffin. Michelle Gustafson. Carson Helms. Nadia Howard. Lateria Kelly. Aaron Maxfield. Riley Nobles. Julia Owen. Autumn Preston. Helena Rogers. Farrah Seacrest. Brooke Shelnut. Calden Smith. Maddie Tanner. Katie Thompson. Jasmine Tolson. Kendall Usry. Connor Van, Cassidy Walls, Taylor Weeks.
It seems like just yesterday I was meeting with you for your School of Nursing orientation. During that time, we discussed the possibility of a white coat ceremony and what that would mean to receive a white coat in nursing. Well, that was over 6 months ago, and you've now completed your first nursing clinical courses in your first semester. So congratulations. They deserve a round of applause. It is my honor and privilege to lead you in the oath to compassionate patient care. So please join me in reciting the oath. As a nurse dedicated to providing the highest quality care and services, I solemnly pledge that I will consider the welfare of all people and relief of suffering as my primary concerns. Act in a compassionate and trustworthy manner in all aspects of my care. Exercise sound professional judgment while abiding by legal and ethical requirements. Accept the lifelong obligation to improve my professional knowledge and competence. Promote, advocate for, and strive to protect the health, safety, and rights of all people, including their families and communities. Support the School of Nursing's leadership mission and values, including integrity, diversity, collaboration, innovation, and excellence. Engage in interprofessional collaborative practice with members of the healthcare team to provide patient-centered care. With this pledge, I accept the duties and responsibilities that embody the nursing profession. I take this oath voluntarily with the full realization of the responsibility with which I am entrusted by the public. You may be seated.
Nursing students, congratulations. Please join me one more time in congratulating them on this accomplishment. I do urge you that as you wear your white coat, whether it's in nursing school clinicals or afterward, whether it's this coat or future white coats, that you be reminded each time that you put this coat on that it will be a visual reminder of the oath that you just took and your professional and ethical obligations that you have. Please remember that as you move across your career, and I wish you the best. You are such a wonderful looking group this evening. I feel that each of you grew about 2 or 3 inches as that coat was worn, and you just look proud, and I believe the knowledge came with it as well. We thank you, Dr. Simmons, for your delivery of a wonderful keynote address, and I think this is one of those moments that you nursing students will remember decades later, and the advice and wisdom that she shared with you. So I believe that this will be a special occasion that doesn't get forgotten. Following our ceremony, we would like to invite all of you to join us for light refreshments. I do know that it's homecoming festivities week, and I believe at 7 p.m. there are across the lawn at Sanford Lawn, a lot of activities for our students await. So you may want to take your white coat off before you go there. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the recessional. And this concludes our ceremony.